Of course I'll give you the article in time, Warren. You know quite well that I've never been late before. Well, yes, but that was the only time. Ah, yes, you're right. I once fell asleep in Marion's office. Didn't I mention I was with Marion? Ah, well, now you know. Sorry you had to find out this way. Ha ha. Wait a sec, Warren. I'll put you on speakerphone.
Okay, Joe. I believe you this time. I must have the article in 2 weeks' time. And while you're in Miami, try not to waste time looking at pretty girls in miniskirts and sexy tops. Remember, you're there to do a job.
As if Miami was full of beautiful girls. Don't worry, I'll go there. I'll do this important interview with creepy Cardinal Gregorio, and I'll come back with a great story and the right pictures showing all his activities, whether they're secret or not.
Joe, don't underestimate the Cardinal. He's one of those men of God who've become more powerful than the Pope himself. He's very influential and he wouldn't think twice about destroying a magazine like ours. Honestly, Joe, he's surrounded by attorneys who can't wait to...
Blah, blah, blah. It's always the same old story. Okay, Mom. I'll put my jacket on when it's cold, and I won't go with strangers who offer me sweets, unless they're wearing stiletto heels and a really sexy dress. Come on, Warren. I've got to go and pack my suitcase, find my passport, and get something to eat. You wouldn't want your journalist to work with an empty stomach, would you? Let's talk about it tomorrow when I'm in Miami.
Okay, but you'll give me a heart attack before I'm 35 if you keep on like this.
Don't worry. It'll be all the chips you eat that'll cause it, not me. See ya.
Yes, yes, yes. Have a safe journey, Joe.
The latest copy of the magazine I work for, the Manhattan Mirror. On the cover, Cardinal Gregorio. I'll interview him tomorrow in Miami, and it will be my next article of the month. I really hope the interview goes well, without any problems. Socials, economy, sci-fi, the true story of Sparta, and elves, fairies, and dwarves. A great melting pot of genres. It's my cell phone. Potentially my next dinner. I know. I shouldn't be eating takeaway all the time. I'd better not. Yeah, I'd better take it with me, just in case. It's my cell phone with an integrated low-quality digital camera. Two wheels are better than four. Various photographs of my voyages. Documents, receipts, old papers, nothing interesting. A lot of stuff, all messed up. Sooner or later, I'll lose something important in all this mess. Hey, that's my passport. A poltergeist must have been having fun with it for the last 2 weeks. I'd better take it with me. It's my passport. No new messages. An old pocket watch. I always have it with me. It's my special good luck charm. A gift from Uncle Frank before his death more than 10 years ago. Hello?
Hello. Am I speaking to Mr. Danter?
Yes. Jonathan Danter here. Who's speaking, please?
Mr. Danter, this is Chief Constable Twinings of New Scotland Yard. I don't have much time to explain, but we have reason to believe you're in serious danger. I've already contacted the New York Police Department, and 2 police cars are about to arrive at your house to pick you up and escort you to the airport, where you're already booked on the first flight to London. Once you get to Heathrow Airport, 2 of my men will be waiting for you. and they'll drive you straight here to my office. Just do as I say, and everything will be fine.
Cat's whiskers, what the hell are you talking about? I'm on my way to Miami. Who are you anyway?
Mr. Danter, there is no time to waste. As I've just told you, I'm the Chief Constable in charge of homicides at Scotland Yard. As this is such a serious situation, I have the authority to bring you here willingly or not. So it's in your interest to go with the officers without putting up a fight. I'm sorry that I can't give you more details, but I've got other urgent problems to solve at this moment, and one of them is your safety. I suggest you cooperate with us. See you soon, Mr. Danter.
This is incredible. This one time Warren sends me to a 5-star hotel. The accent was English. His voice sounded really like a police officer's. Unless someone's hired a professional actor to play a trick on me over the phone, I guess I'd better pack my case and go to London. Goodbye, cocktails with little umbrellas in them.
Hello, Mr. Danter. I'm Chief Constable Twinings. I'm sorry to make your acquaintance under such unfortunate circumstances.
Sure, let's talk about these circumstances of how you've dragged me here from the other side of the planet without even explaining why.
I understand the way you're feeling, but unfortunately, we had to move quickly to guarantee your safety and make sure any evidence remains undisturbed.
I don't like the truth kept away from me, Chief Constable. Would you please tell me what's going on?
Certainly. 2 nights ago, we found the body of a man who'd been brutally murdered. I'm very sorry to inform you that it was your uncle, Frank Danter.
And you brought me all the way here to tell me that? I'm sorry, Chief Constable, but you must have got the wrong person. My uncle's been dead for over 10 years now.
That's what they made you believe as a child. To tell the truth, your uncle has been working for the Vatican Secret Service for the last 10 years.
Uncle Frank was a sort of papal secret agent. Listen, if this is a new kind of reality show, I've already wasted enough of my precious time listening to all of this.
This is not a joke, Mr. Danter. And yes, if you wish to put it like that, your uncle was indeed a secret agent of sorts. When he joined the small group of people specially chosen to protect the Vatican's secrets 10 years ago, he decided to fake his death, so that you and your family wouldn't be involved in the undercover work he was performing. Unfortunately, we believe his cover was blown, and this must have put him in mortal danger. If someone managed to find your uncle, we have reason to believe you might also be in danger, as you are his only living relative. Although the way he was killed doesn't necessarily lead to the same assassin, your uncle's death is nonetheless similar to the 5 other murders that have been carried out quite recently. All the victims, including your uncle, were members of the Vatican Secret Service. We can't understand why, but they made your uncle's murder look like a robbery. They only took a few coins, and we're convinced that somebody's trying to hide the real reason behind all these murders of the Vatican's secret agents. Perhaps the newspapers have drawn too much attention to these murders, and the killers got scared.
Seeing the way in which he killed the other victims, he doesn't seem to be the kind of person who'd be frightened by a few headlines. But tell me, if I'm in such danger, why have you brought me all the way here? And who knows I'm his nephew anyway? Do you at least know what this man wanted from my uncle and what he could want from me?
Mr. Danter, I've already given you some highly classified information. Please don't ask me to go any further. As far as your safety is concerned, I can only say that, although I'm well aware of the risks you're running, I also realize that you're the only person who can help us to solve this case.
Chief Inspector, I'm just a journalist. And as I told you before, I only ever saw my uncle when I was a child, and that was a long time before his death. I really don't see how I could be of any help to you.
2 days before his death, your uncle put something in a safe deposit box at Heathrow Airport. This safe deposit box is also in your name. At the moment, our inquiries are at a dead end, and I admit that I'm hoping we'll be able to open the safe deposit box and find some new evidence inside it. Unfortunately, before we can open the box, we have to wait for a high-ranking CIA agent to arrive. So, I'll contact you in a few hours as soon as he gets here. For now, I'll give you the keys to your uncle's house. And don't worry, as the crime scene investigators have already been there and taken all they need. They even took your uncle's laptop to check it, but didn't find anything interesting, so it's been put back again. You can stay there, but I'm afraid the water, gas and electricity have all been cut off. I've had your luggage sent there anyway. I could have booked you a hotel, but I prefer you to check your uncle's flat before going back to New York. You'll be escorted by 2 bodyguards who are waiting for you outside my office. Officer Coletti will join you later at your uncle's house to sort out a few formalities. Here's my visiting card. The funeral is being held tomorrow. Please excuse me, as I have some urgent business to attend to now. Goodbye.
Inspector Twinings has ordered us here to accompany you to Frank Danter's flat and to protect you until someone takes you to the airport. Don't worry though, Officer Coletti will soon be here.
Is this Officer Coletti a good policeman?
One of the best in the murder squad. He's the inspector's right-hand man, and he's solved every case he's worked on. He doesn't talk very much, and he's a bit on in his men, but it's results that count, right?
How long will it take him to get here?
Not long. He'll be here shortly.
See you later, officer. Hey, I think I heard a noise coming from that group of plants. Ah! A frog! I'm not looking in there anymore. I had a very traumatic experience with frogs when I was little. It's just an ordinary bulletin board. Lost black cat. Characteristic, he loves licorice. Would everyone please remember to ignore the black umbrella? Ignore the what? Are they mad? Would everyone please remember to ignore... It's a strange black umbrella. Not even for $1 million. Bills, propaganda, and a postcard from an old friend. Great. I'm stuck in London and I don't even have a map of the city with me. Ah, my suitcase. I must admit that the English police is certainly efficient. incredible. It still seems to be working. It's Uncle Frank's old computer. A brand new laptop. It's a pile of papers and books. Maybe Uncle Frank was studying them for one of his investigations. And what do we have here? A map of London. This could be handy. I grew up in Wales and I don't know London very well. It's a map of London.
Hello, Mr. Danter. I'm Lieutenant Coletti.
Oh, at last! Chief Inspector Twining said...
Surprise, surprise, right? If you don't want to end up like the two agents down below, you better follow me to the airport and give me the contents of the safety deposit box.
Hey, mate! Let's talk about this, okay? There's no need for you to point that thing at me. Personally, I don't give a damn either about this safe deposit box or whatever's going on.
Lucky you. That means you'll soon forget about all this.
Don't move, Coletti. I should have known a bastard like you would do something like this.
Miss McKendall, what an honor.
Right. Now that we've all introduced ourselves, can I put my hands down?
Shut up!
Shut up!
Now, Coletti, put your gun down. The American's coming with me.
Cat, you and your father never give up, do you? The American can go with you now, but don't think this is the end of it.
Hi, I'm Katrin McKendall. I'm the daughter of one of your Uncle Frank's old friends. I was here to see if I could find out anything about his murderer. When I saw the two dead policemen downstairs, and I heard Coletti's voice, you know the rest.
Cat's whiskers! But is he really a police officer? Is he really a police officer?
He certainly is, and he's also a high-ranking one. The only people who know that Coletti's the spy are me, you, my father, and a few trusted friends.
You mean it was Coletti who sold the names of the Vatican Secret Service agents?
Yes. In fact, he indirectly killed your uncle. But don't waste your time dirtying your hands with someone like him. Help me instead, please. I'm looking for a clue. Something that might help us guess what Frank had discovered.
But the crime scene investigators already went over every inch of this place with a fine-tooth comb. What chance have we got of finding anything?
I knew Frank better than anyone. During a case as important as this, he'd never have left evidence on his desk. And anyway, the crime scene squad is mostly made up of undergraduates who've joined just because they enjoy the TV series. Frank was one of us. He knew how to hide things from inexperienced eyes.
A case as important as this? One of us? You're talking as if you really know something about all of this.
Joe, your uncle was a member of the Legacy, and my father's the grand treasurer of the same association. The Legacy works with the Vatican to safeguard its members from attacks like the ones that have just happened. Although there are a few men of strength like your uncle who are members, the Legacy is mostly made up of historians, cryptographers, scientists, and researchers of ancient arts like alchemy, or men with a profound knowledge of esotericism.
Ah, ghosts, werewolves, and witches. No thanks. I've already had more than enough to do with them.
Nothing of the sort. The Legacy only operates in the field of science, even though the initial premise on which the research is based is often taken from folk tales or legends. The mission of the Legacy is to protect the secrets of the Vatican, while at the same time unmasking untrue beliefs.
So who exactly are you then? Are you trying to find the Philosopher's Stone?
Although I'm highly qualified in this field, I'm actually only a renovator, with an excellent knowledge of ancient languages. Well, if you think that's so funny, let me remind you, I've got a gun.
Okay. Just let me get in touch with Twinings and tell him what's going on.
You don't still trust the police, do you? For all we know, Twinings might already have heard all about this, and even be in on it.
You're right. I'd better listen to you or else I'll be in a trap. I'm sure I'll regret having asked this later, but what are we going to do now?
I'll check the garage. You have a look round here, and don't be taken in by appearances, as the associates of the Legacy are always using symbols. Their favorite hobbies are ancient puzzles and enigmas, So even if you think you've checked a place thoroughly, have a look again. I'm off now. See you later.
Fine. But what are we looking for?
Anything. Frank would never have left us without anything. It's one of the rules of the legacy. Never leave dead ends for the other members. If we look carefully, I know we'll find something. You do want to find out why your uncle was killed, don't you?
To tell you the truth, what I'm really interested in is going home and getting a good night's sleep. If I'm lucky enough, I might even get back in time for my interview.
What kind of pathetic journalist are you? You're up to your eyes in a case involving Scotland Yard, the CIA, and the Vatican Secret Service? And you want to give it up? Along with the chance of winning the Pulitzer Prize?
I knew I should have listened to Warren when he told me to carry on making documentaries for the Ancient Channel and Channel Earth. Ancient old mummies and monkeys picking fleas from one another never hurt anyone.
You're quite right about the monkeys, but I'm not so sure about mummies. Tell me something. How come your eyes are two different colors? Were you that frightened when the gun was pointed at you?
Ha ha ha. Very funny. What was that then? A touch of English wit? Maybe I've been living too long in the States and have lost my sense of humor.
Okay, we'll get back to you some other time. Come on, let's hurry up.
Let's hope he doesn't wake up for a couple of hours. My uncle's bookcase. It's full of books, encyclopedias, and dictionaries. Now that's strange. Those books are all messed up. Why should Uncle Frank have left these books in a mess? This is the sequence of the books that were all messed up in Uncle Frank's bookcase. I remember music cradling me like a lullaby on those nights when I slept at my uncle's old house. Mozart, one of my uncle's favorites. I remember music cradling me like a lullaby on those nights when I slept at my uncle's old house. Nothing more than an ornament. This poor knight has lost his sword. Hey, when I was little, I asked Uncle Frank a lot of times, Uncle Frank, where's the sword of this poor knight gone to? It's an old grandfather clock. I think I remember that Uncle Frank had one of these in his old house, but I'm not sure. It seems broken. It stopped at 10:10. I remember when I was little and I used to ask, Uncle Frank, why is your grandfather clock always at 5:55? Strangely, Frank never wanted to repair this clock. Why would he do something like that? This picture is really wonderful. And what's this? Looks like a tin of tuna. Okay then, why not? A tasty tin of tuna. Hi, kitty. What's the problem? Are you hungry, perhaps? What a strange cat. It's purring so much it must be hungry. Oh, now this is more like Uncle Frank's idea of technology. Wait a sec. There's something hidden behind there. And what's this? I've never seen a fishing trophy like this. It seems ancient. Maybe I'd better not leave it where anybody could find it. A mysterious device. It looks ancient. There's a mechanism with 5 Roman numerals, just like the 5 books on Frank's bookcase. This way I can select the numerals. Aha! It opened! It looks so ancient, I'm nearly afraid to touch it.
Looks like young Larry's still continuing with his works of art. It's incredible. Even the cupboard in Frank's garage are neat and tidy. What's that flicker? If I remember well, these are the keys for Frank's motorbike, as long as it doesn't fall to pieces. These are the keys of Frank's roaring motorbike.
Do these mean anything to you?
Well, they're symbols, perhaps from an ancient language, but they're not Latin or Greek, and they certainly don't seem to be Asian.
You're not telling me you can speak those ancient languages.
I can't speak them, but I can translate them. Come on, let's get out of here. I've found the keys to your uncle's motorbike. I'll take you to my father. He'll know how to decipher that piece of parchment.
You found the keys? But how did you get here previously?
By bus, of course. What a stupid question.
Hello, Inspector. Coletti here. I'm afraid Mr. Danter has escaped. He was helped by Catherine McKendall and, regretfully, we lost 2 men. Yes, he shot them in cold blood, sir. Of course, I'll have an identity kit made and sent out to all the stations. Sure, sir. It'll be the first thing I'll do as soon as I reach my office. Bastards!
What's happened?
Coletti shot 2 agents, and I think he wants to accuse me and Jonathan.
Pleased to meet you, Jonathan. And if you're half the man your uncle was, you're well worth knowing. As Kat's probably told you, Frank was a very dear friend of mine. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a war, as you can see.
I've noticed. But why is someone getting rid of the Vatican agents? And who's covering for Coletti? Is it Twinings?
We don't have much time, as he'll be looking for you everywhere. He'll soon get here with some of his men in tow. You see, Jonathan, even though he's very dangerous, Coletti is only a small fry in this story. He's just a bent policeman who sold the names of nearly all the Vatican Secret Service agents. The trouble is that we have no idea of who he's selling the names to. Given the brutality with which these executions are being carried out, they're certainly not being done by someone sane.
Great. Now I'm wanted by the whole of Scotland Yard. I have a corrupt cop on my back. And as if that wasn't enough, I feel like I'm in an episode of The Mysteries of the Holy Grail or something like that.
The Holy Grail's got nothing to do with this. And can't you be serious for even 10 minutes? Here you are, Dad.
Now this is interesting. It looks like an ancient numerical code. I think you should get Damien to have a look at it.
Who's this Damien? Some kind of number code expert?
Not exactly. Damien's a computer technician, but he also developed some advanced systems to break codes that we used several times during our research.
Dad, did Frank tell you what he was working on?
Just a little. He did mention something about completing research into the Imago Sanctissimus. That's a legend, you know. Not all that well known. It seems that the ancient order of the Knights Templar left a legacy for all of humanity. The answers to all questions of mankind. This was apparently recorded in the Imago Sanctissimus, and even today, we still don't know exactly what it is. Some say that when the Imago Sanctissimus is mentioned in texts, it refers to the Shroud, some think it's the Grail, and others that it's neither one nor the other.
So it's just as I thought. The Holy Grail is involved. Uncle Frank must have been close to finding it.
Your uncle was one of the most reputable members of the Vatican Secret Service. I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that he knew where to look for the Imago Sanctissimus. Obviously, whoever killed him now knows whatever the Vatican Secret Service knew, and the killers no longer want the agents under their feet. Your uncle and I became very good friends when we worked together on some special research. He'd expressly asked for scientific help from a member of my group. However, he never talked in any detail about this research, apart from the principal idea he was working on. He used to say that it was to protect me, but I really think it was because Frank saw himself as a 1930s detective. He was a solitary man, and that's probably why he was so damn good at his job.
Jonathan, we'd better make a move. We've got to get to Damien's place. Although he doesn't live too far from the center of London, we have to be careful while we're traveling. Coletti will be looking for us, and his men might burst in here at any moment.
It was a real pleasure to meet you, Mr. McKendall.
The pleasure's all mine, young man. Do try to catch that rogue Coletti. The best luck to you both.
Hi, Kat. Good to see you. Who's your friend?
This is Frank's nephew, Jonathan. Jonathan, this is Damien.
Pleased to meet you. Kat, your father rang as you were on your way here. I'm afraid the police have raided your house and your father has been arrested. You're in a bit of a mess, aren't you?
If Arthur phoned you, Coletti will trace the call and find you in a flash.
Don't worry, mate. I talked to Arthur through the communicator like the one I gave to all the members of the Legacy. Here you are. You'd better have one too.
Thanks.
It's a modified mini-handset which can only connect you to reserved lines from screen servers. I set up the system myself and it's practically impossible to trace calls to their original source. First, because the calls can't be localized, and second, because no one knows they exist. Are you happier now?
Well, well, well. Now I see why James Bond was English.
Don't take any notice of him. He's always saying stupid things. He thinks he's funny, and he just can't keep his mouth shut when he ought to.
Okay. But are you sure this thing really works?
Jonathan, don't worry. We can trust him. Damien, tell me instead, do these symbols on this parchment we found in Frank's flat mean anything to you?
Well, I'll have to do a bit of research into it. It's certainly a very ancient code. Leave it with me and I'll let you know as soon as I've worked out the meaning of these symbols. For the moment, you should better keep it down. At least until the dust has settled. Cat, why don't you take Joe to Roberts and get his documents facelifted so you can move around in secret until we uncover the truth about Coletti?
Is this Robert one of yours?
Not exactly one of ours, but he's done us a few favors in the past. We can't always get information through legal channels, so sometimes Robert gives us a hand.
Hi, Kat. What brings you down here again? Your friend looks like a policeman. I don't trust him.
Don't worry, Robert. It's Frank Danter's nephew. He needs a false passport.
Are you sure he's okay? He really does look like a policeman.
You trust me, don't you?
All right. A false passport. That's not a problem. All we need is a photo. Who'd you like to be? Famous actor? Pop star?
Robert, stop messing around. We're in trouble. And we're wanted by the police.
The police have been looking for me for years. You know, you can't get used to anything in life.
But I haven't got a photo with me. What are we going to do now?
Damn. I've lent my digital camera to a friend who's doing a job for some woman. Wait a minute, though. There's an old photo machine around here. Try that. In the meantime, I'll get working on these state documents.
Jonathan, I'll leave you here for a while if you don't mind. I just have to rush back home to see if I can get in touch with my father again and find out if Coletti's men have done any damage.
But the police will still be there. It doesn't seem like such a good idea to me.
Don't worry, I'll be careful, and that way I'll be able to pick up my false passport.
You've got a false passport too?
One of my best jobs, even if I say so myself. A real work of art. While working for the Legacy, Kat managed to get into the most unlikely places using it. And she hasn't been stopped yet. I'm a genius.
Promise me you'll be careful.
You sure you're not a policeman, mate?
It's a puddle full of rubbish. 2 buttons, a piece of shoelace, some papers, etc. Okay, I'll have a closer look at it. Okay, I'll pick up the piece of shoelace, but I'll leave the rest of the stuff there. A piece of an old wet shoelace. Wow! This looks like a 5-star hotel. This is what I call recycling. A fridge abandoned in the middle of the road. There's an old melted strawberry ice lolly inside the freezer. Someone crazy must have thought that this was the best place to keep it, even if the fridge isn't on. Let's hope I don't get dirt all over my trousers. I prefer orange flavor. Not only does it look abandoned, but someone has also set it on fire. It would be a miracle to find anything intact inside it. As I said, it's a miracle. This must have been the car of a very religious English man. It's a miracle this thing didn't burn in the car.
The end of the world. The end is near, I tell you. Oh, holy God, save us all. And flames will fall from the sky. The light will burn our eyes, and then darkness will fall for years and years. Clouds of venom on us all. Run! Find yourself a shelter. Run!
Hey there. Do you want a couple of pounds? You don't look very well.
What, are you mad? What are you doing outside? Find a shelter, quick, or hell will fall upon you.
Can I use your shelter, please?
No. This machine was brought here on a rainy night years ago by some government secret agents. They know. They know everything. It's all their fault. This machine is made of special alien metal. Nobody will survive, but I will. This is my shelter. It's mine. Ah! Go away! Away!
God, one can smell your booze breath all over the street.
So Jesus said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you."
Maybe a couple of glasses of wine could make this stinky devil a bit friendlier. An empty, stinky bottle. I haven't cut myself and I'm not dying, so one of the bottles really was intact. Dirty, but intact. It's nearly full of water. It almost looks like wine. It's a little wooden stick. A magnetic fishing rod. There's a terrible smell coming from under that grate. I can see something glittering down there. It's probably a coin, but I can't identify it from here. I'm rich! A bush filled with rubbish. I'll pick it up, but don't ask me to eat it, okay? Looks like a kind of school science experiment lost by some careless kid. Perfect! The smell and the consistence are similar to a chateau of 1984. Expired.
Who are you? How did you manage to survive the apocalypse? Oh my god, you're a mutant. I know. It's just like Larry said. You're going to eat my brain. Oh no. And this is a nightmare. A nightmare, I say. Hey, wait a sec. What's that? It's a bottle. It's a bottle of wine. Thank God! A bottle has been saved and I got hold of it. I must... I have to take it to a safer place. It's mine. Give it to me! It's all mine! My precious bottle.
That tramp would have won an Oscar. If only he didn't believe in the crazy things he's saying.
The end of the world. The end is near, I tell you. Oh, holy God, save us all. And flames will fall from the sky. The light will burn our eyes, and then darkness will fall for years and years. Clouds of venom on us all. Run! Find yourself a shelter. Run!
The curse of the awful ID photos has fallen on me, too. I don't agree with using girls' bodies to take sexy photos, but I can't help but admire such splendor.
Have you got the ID photo?
Here it is.
Great. I'll start working on your passport straight away then.
See you later.
Luckily, I managed to get into the garden through the back without being seen. It didn't take Coletti long to park his guard dogs outside my house. I mustn't let those two bobbies see me. I'll have to think of a way of getting into the house without making them suspicious. It's an old tool shed that George uses to keep his stuff in. There's so many bits and pieces in here that I can't even open the door. They're certainly not the newest gloves I've ever seen, but they could come in handy. They're old and dirty, but I think I'll find a way to use them. The glass door of the balcony is open. My wonderful climbing roses. I haven't got much time. I have to find my fake passport, and while I'm here, it would be nice if I found my digital camera too. My father's bedroom. These are the stairs to the attic. My favorite couch. During my free time, I lay here in my pajamas for hours and hours. If I remember well, I was here with Jane and Claire last time I used my digital camera. Yes, here it is. This little thing always manages to hide in the most unthinkable places. My budget digital camera. It's a beautiful model of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. It was Frank's gift for my father's 50th birthday. This is my dad's private lift. One of the many bookcases full of books that my father loves to read. When I was little, my mom used to teach me how to play on this piano. Papers, documents, and other stuff. Knowing my father, there could be an original copy of the Magna Charta around here. It's not the Magna Carta, but it'll surely be more useful. Robert's best work.
Welcome back, Kat. I've sorted out your friend's passport, okay? Now he'll be known as Daniel Brown.
Actually, I'd have preferred something a bit more classic, like John Smith or Mr. Johnson.
Jonathan, this is no time to...
The name's Daniel, if you don't mind.
Okay, Daniel. There were only 2 policemen posted outside my house. Getting in through the window was child's play. Coletti must have thought we'd never be so stupid to go back to my father's house. Unfortunately, though, my father has been arrested by Scotland Yard. There are scores of police looking for us everywhere. It's Damien. He's got some news.
Welcome back, you two. I found some interesting things on the parchment.
Have you found something that'll help us frame Coletti?
I'm afraid we're not going to frame Coletti with this information. But at least we're beginning to find out what Frank was working on. This isn't actually a parchment, it's a piece of cloth. It's part of the relic that's kept in Chartre Cathedral. On the night of June 10th, 1194, Chartre Cathedral and the surrounding town were set on fire. Even today, the cause for the fire is still not known. Many historians have put forward theories, and one of these is that it was an extremist secret cell of Cathars, who started the fire. So I kept track and discovered that the Cathars were a sect that had a fair amount of support from different social classes, especially the poor at that time. The sect, however, was also supported by some of the middle classes who only sided with the Cathars to oppose the enormous power of the clergy.
I think I've read something about the Cathars in some history book. I was reading it for fun.
The word Cathar appeared for the first time between 1152 and 1156 in the Sermons contra Catharos by Egbert of Schonow. Initially, Catharism proliferated in the south of France and subsequently in Roccavione in northern Italy. The Cathars professed a spiritual belief that was in opposition to that of the church. Catharism didn't accept the authority of the church and took advantage of the general discontent of the population who believed that the church was incoherent and corrupt at that time. Catharism stated that one was responsible for his own salvation through knowledge, morality, and a pure way of life. They believed in the doctrine of reincarnation as well as other similar things. After having tried to make peace with the various sects, the church started a brutal war that led to the elimination of Catharism. Today, many historians believe that in some of the more extreme Cathar factions, the members were forced to give up all their belongings to the leaders of these sects. The followers, in fact, had to renounce all material things because they believed that evil lied in the material goods. Only a few people really know the truth about some extremist Cathar factions. It is believed that they thought they had a legitimate right to put up a violent, armed resistance, and while following these convictions, they fought not only against the Crusades and the Church, but against anything that wasn't in agreement with their beliefs.
So this allowed them to behave any way towards anything. Their doctrines permitted destruction and robbery. Is that right?
That's right, Kat. Their belief that any material thing was intrinsically evil found its focal point in the idea that Christ was an angel, but the human Christ who ended up on the cross was a material being and therefore had to be a demon.
That's certainly an original idea. A complete distortion of the values of good and evil based on the material and the abstract. I must admit that these people are interesting. Above all, this might help us to understand the mysterious rituals that the journalists keep talking about in relation to these recent murders.
Precisely. However, where were we? Yes. That's how the middle classes suddenly found themselves with enormous amounts of money given to them by the followers of the sect. And as if this wasn't enough, the more extreme factions had an army of soldiers ready to kill, destroy, or steal to prove that all material possessions were evil. The middle classes had this terrifying weapon pointed straight at the church.
Okay, I'm with you up to now. But why would they have burned down the Cathedral of Chartre? And above all, why would my uncle have had to protect a fragment of the relic?
The presence of these symbols on the cloth makes me think that the whole relic is covered with coded information. This doesn't really surprise me, as it seems that the relic was one of the many treasures of the Knights Templar.
So the Knights Templar are involved in this story too?
Not directly. As you know, the Knights Templar used to hide their secrets using ambigrams the majority of the people couldn't understand. So I believe the Cathars wanted to destroy the relic so that its secret wouldn't be passed on.
The Imago Sanctissimus. That must be the secret.
Let's not jump to conclusions. I haven't found anything that indicates what this Imago Sanctissimus really is, but taking into account what we've just found out, it may be a possible hypothesis. We could try doing some research in a library in London to see if something interesting comes up.
I can take care of that.
It's becoming a bit too dangerous for me and Kat to stay in London, and I don't even know my way around here. While Coletti is around, I'd certainly better not go out shopping. He's the one with the upper hand right now, as he knows more about this than we do, and he won't give up until he's got the contents of that safe deposit box. I can't go to the airport. It'll be crowded with policemen, and they know what I look like.
You're right, Jonathan. You'd better start packing for a lovely trip to Chartre, so you'll be away from London for a while, and you'll also be able to do some research on the relic and the Cathars. Go to this address and say we've sent you. Ask for Alan. He's our night flyer.
Right. Damien, you go to my uncle's house and see if Coletti has left any clues behind, or anything else that might be useful. You're the only one of us who isn't wanted, so hopefully the police won't pay any attention to you. Here are the keys.
Right. Everyone agree? Let's keep the communicator switched on and hope that good old Alan will get us 2 tickets for Chartre as soon as possible.
Aren't you coming with us?
No, I'll be of more use here in London while you're in France.
Good luck.
My God, Coletti has really lost his mind. He has to be stopped. Poor Miss Jones. She still hasn't realized that our cat has run away because she used to give it licorice instead of cat food. Oh, you're still around. Now be good this time and sit like the good umbrella you are, okay? There goes another mighty hero. It even resisted Frank's anger towards technology. And here's my best friend, Frank's new laptop. Let's see if I can find something useful in here. Damn, I need the password. Maybe Joe knows it. I never managed to find out from Frank what it was. Maybe I should try asking Joe for the password. Maybe Joe knows the answer. That was quick. Full of useful stuff. Ha! My little hacking program never fails me, and here's something Kat will find interesting. The titles of the books that Frank wanted to study for his investigation. Okay, now let's hope Kat will manage to find those books.
Here, pussy, pussy, pussy. What are you doing here? One thing is for sure. Either all the cats in England look the same, or this cat is the one I saw at Frank's. This seems to be the only way to get inside Alan's hangar. I can't open it. It's locked. It looks like they were put here recently. Hey, I didn't notice that before. The little door with the lock is part of a bigger gate that may open. Aha! This is how you open this bloody gate. This must be Alan's airplane. A rubbish bin. It looks like a used canister that once contained ammonia. I really must stop robbing stuff from rubbish bins. It seems like there's still a bit of ammonia in here.
Who are you? If you're an American terrorist, go away. This is a private airport, and I don't sell flights to Americans. Understand?
I guess you're Alan, right?
It depends who's asking.
I'm a very rich Texan oil tycoon, and I'd like to buy a trip to France.
What? I told you I do not sell my flights to Americans, no matter the price. Now go away, please.
I'm a friend of Catherine and Damien's. They told me to come here.
I've never seen you around here before. Usually the Legacy chooses its friends wisely, and you don't look very special. If Damien or Kat needed my help, I'm sure they'd come here themselves.
Look, I've got this special communicator that Damien gave me.
I don't understand anything about all this high-tech junk. Who says it's not a bomb, or simply a new kind of cell phone? You'll need to find a better proof to convince me that you work for the Legacy.
Damn! I have to find something to prove to Alan that it really was Kat who sent me here.
That's one of Robert's fake passports, right? Let me have a look. Yes, it's definitely one of Robert's. This means you probably really have been sent here by Damien and Kat. What do you need?
Finally! I was starting to doubt I'd ever manage to convince you. We need to get away from London for some time.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
The Bahamas. A little bit of sun and a couple of strong cocktails will hopefully make me forget all this chaos.
Oh, really? And I guess the idea of having Kat in her swimsuit isn't bad either. No, I'm not going to take you to the Bahamas.
I was thinking of visiting my Auntie Bethany. She owns a pub in Macduff, Scotland.
Wait a minute. I know her. Is she fat? With red hair and a long beard? Absolutely not. I'm not going there. After that time in 1989, I'll never go to Macduff. Never again.
We need to fly to Chartre in France. We have to study its cathedral.
Okay. Now, the only problem is to find a new spark plug for my plane.
Sorry, but can't you just order it?
Sure, pigs might fly. Have you had a look at my plane? It's a one-of-a-kind model. I built it piece by piece more than 20 years ago. Finding spare parts for it is not so easy nowadays.
Where can we find this piece you need then?
One night, I caught a group of drunken boys playing around my plane. I sent them away shouting and screaming, but I wasn't quick enough. They had already stolen the spark plug. Don't ask me why. I really can't understand how the minds of those idiots work.
Do you know where I can find them?
Probably in a pub or a disco, trying to find the newest drug, or worse.
You build it piece by piece?
Sure, but it's a long story. And stop pulling that face. It flies perfectly.
I wonder who's crazier, me or Alan, as I'm going to look for a group of vandals who stole a piece of a plane. It's closed. This sign seems to have been built with pieces of engines or things like that. If it really was an engine, now it's so rusty it definitely won't work anymore. Aha! An old spark plug, just what I was looking for. This is what Alan is looking for his airplane.
Great! I hope you gave those idiots a lesson in good manners. It'll take me a couple of hours to prepare my plane.
Okay, see you in a couple of hours then.
See you later, boy. Thanks. You did a great job. I misjudged you.
No problem at all. It was a pleasure.
Can I help you, miss?
Are you the caretaker?
I'm the librarian.
Where's everyone?
This place is usually full of students, but today they've all gone to an important meeting or something like that.
The Mysteries of the Knights Templar by Rudin Gutenberg. The Secret Book of Epicures by Francesca Ettirai and Imago Prodigio Divinum by an anonymous French.
Okay, the books you were looking for are somewhere in this shelf, but I haven't got time to look for them right now. I'm creating a huge digital database containing all our books, and as you see, everything here is in a mess. If you leave me a note with the titles and a phone number, I'll contact you tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning? But I need them now. If they're in this shelf, it'll take you just a couple of minutes to find them.
Listen, I'm really busy making a catalog of all these books, and if I stop right now, a whole day's work could be ruined. Come back tomorrow.
If you're that busy, I could look for the books by myself. I just need the ladder for 10 minutes.
This is the only ladder in the library. The Chancellor has already ordered some new ones, but they haven't arrived yet. So, no. I've got a lot of work to do, and I can't stay here chit-chatting with you.
I'm going now, but don't worry, I'll be back.
I had no doubt of that.
Essential in every library. Essential. A wobbling pile of books. Done. And now someone must pick them up. Librarian!
I'm too busy right now. I'll pick them up later.
I have to find another way to distract the librarian. It looks like there's a mouse hole hidden behind this fire extinguisher. Great idea. This is one of the books I was looking for. This is one of the books I was looking for. This is one of the books I was looking for. At last, we found plenty of interesting stuff here.
Tell me everything.
The Imago Sanctissimus is one of the most obscure and mysterious artifacts in the history of mankind, but references to it can be found in many myths and legends. Many people think that the Imago Sanctissimus is nothing but the Holy Grail. Others think it's the Holy Shroud kept in Turin. Actually, all these interpretations are wrong and derive from a simple mistake in translation. The term Imago Sanctissimus in fact comes from an even older name, Imago Prodigio Divinum. The word prodigio can be interpreted as manifestation, but also as betrayal. If we imagine that the original name of the Imago Sanctissimus was Imago Prodigio, this would mean that the Imago Sanctissimus was a symbol of betrayal. And which was the most famous betrayal in history?
Judas!
Exactly. And if we compare this fact to the old legend, I think we can safely say that the Imago Sanctissimus was a medallion, and more precisely the medallion forged from the 30 pieces of silver that Judas received to betray Jesus Christ. But it doesn't end here. Many ancient writings led me to believe that the famous secret of life is hidden inside the Imago Sanctissimus. It looks like Jesus Christ wanted to repay that awful betrayal with an infinite act of love. Reveal to humanity the secret of life. But only if mankind would have been worth it.
That's all?
Yeah, I think so.
So they killed Uncle Frank because they believed he knew where the Imago Sanctissimus was.
And knowing Frank, he's probably up there looking down on us and trying to give us a hand to find it. We have to work out what these symbols on the cloth mean, and also find the rest of it.
I'd say the moment has come for a little trip to France. Alan's waiting for us.
Excellent. I'll try to find as much information as possible about these symbols. If you need anything at all, call me on the communicator, and I'll do my best to help you from here.
Thank you, Damien.
Have a safe journey.
Freeze! Don't move a muscle. I'd really like to know what you were doing at Frank Danter's house this evening. Now, follow me and don't make a sound.
It must be Damien. He's probably got some new information about the relic.
Hey, let's see. Listen to me, Kat. Let's try to keep calm. I know all of this is starting to seem like a nightmare, but if they found Damien, it won't take them long to find us, too. We can only hope that if we find out something new about the code on the relic, it'll help us work out what these extremists, the Cathars, or whoever they are up to. Otherwise, I'm afraid our trip to France could have an unhappy ending.
Joe, I don't want to think that Damien's been hung on that wall in such a brutal way. I've got to call Twinings, even though he's involved in this business, and tell him to go and take Damien's body down from that pool of blood.
Don't worry, I'll call him. You'd better go and find a hotel for the night, and try to relax. I promise you. We'll get the bastard who killed Damien. Up to now, no one knows we're here, except for Alan and Damien. And I'm sure Damien would never have betrayed us for any reason whatsoever.
Thanks, Joe. I know Damien was only someone you met a few hours ago, but I've known him for many years, and to think that...
Don't think about it now. First, we've got to save ourselves, and then we can mourn our lost friends. Be brave. We've still got quite a few things to do before we can go to sleep tonight.
Promise me you'll be careful.
Don't worry, I will be. This telephone box has certainly seen better days. The door is completely stuck. It looks like someone has kicked it in, or worse. I don't think it'd be wise. An old tin of tomato sauce, probably expired. Yuck! This tomato sauce is really expired. What a smell! A tin full of tomato sauce. It's a very picturesque fountain. What a shame. No goldfish. Hey, what's that? Oh, it seems like someone has lost something very precious here. Okay then, you never know what could happen. The most evolved weapon against disease and babies. I don't know why, but around the most beautiful monuments, you'll always find work in progress signs that ruin the atmosphere. Let's have a closer look. Maybe I'll find something useful. A rusty metal bar. Now I really feel safe. It's a bench. Someone has forgotten his newspaper. Why not? They always say that reading is good for you. A good weapon against boredom. This telephone box, the door. See? With a bit of kindness, everything works out as it should. And look what we have here. A phone card with some credit left on it. Hello, Jonathan Danter speaking.
Mr. Danter, what a pleasure. In less than 48 hours, things have become quite complicated. In fact, I haven't had to deal with so many complications in years.
Chief Inspector, I'm not even sure that I can trust you. But right now, I've got no choice. You'll find the body of a man in one of the abandoned warehouses along the Thames. I've no idea who killed him, but I can tell you the murder of the 2 cops who were gunned down inside my uncle's house has nothing to do with me. It was Coletti.
You're making some very serious accusations, Mr. Danter. And why should I believe you? Your fingerprints were on the gun. The best thing you can do now is to turn yourself in.
I know you need proof, and that's why I'm trying to collect some. But now, please, would you send someone to get the body of the poor man that someone killed down at the harbor?
Brown? This is Chief Inspector Twinings. Trace the call I've just received on my mobile and ring me the minute you've got any news.
It's a used telephone card. This statue doesn't seem as old as the rest of the cathedral. The statue has been placed on a small decorated stone column. Wait a sec. Those decorations look more like engravings to me. These strange engravings are some kind of alphabet. It looks as if this stone column could have been used as a stamp or something similar. I have to find a way to send this mysterious sentence to Kat. I could try with a photo of the column, but I don't think the letters would be visible. Done. Now the column is covered with tomato sauce. I'm a genius! Wonderful. A shame it's in Latin. Maybe if I took a photo of the newspaper I printed the Latin sentence on, I could send it to Kat. Kat told me she knows Latin quite well, didn't she?
Hi, kids. Isn't it a bit late to be playing by yourselves in the street?
We're not kids.
Do your parents know that you're not in bed?
It's none of your business.
What are your names?
Mom told us not to talk to strangers.
Okay, sorry then. Can you at least tell me what you're doing out this late at night?
Nothing.
I'm looking for a hotel. Can you help me?
The others say that if you give us some sweets, we can tell you where the nearest hotel is.
Why aren't you all dressed as knights?
Because my mom hasn't finished sewing the other robes.
I don't have any sweets with me, but you can tell the others that I'll give you a kiss if you help me.
The children whisper together for a few seconds. We've decided that you're beautiful enough, and anyway, we are knights, and our mission is to save all maidens in need of help. The nearest hotel is the Maison de Grèce. Follow this road and turn right twice. There's always a free room there. We spend hours in front of it, laughing at all the strange men and the silly women dressed in plastic skirts, with heavy makeup that go in and out.
Maybe it would be better to find another place to sleep. Why is one of you dressed like a Knights Templar?
The children whisper together for a few seconds. We're only going to tell you if you swear that you won't tell anybody else. We are Chartre's Knights Templars. Everybody thinks that all the knights are dead. But we're still here to protect the town from awful dragons and nasty witches.
And why are you out so late?
It was Jean-Luc's birthday yesterday, and he's finally old enough to try to finish his knight's training with the last test, the Trial of Courage. This is the only way to become a real Knight Templar.
Shh! Stop telling her everything.
What is the Trial of Courage?
The children whisper together for a few seconds. Jean-Luc has to remain motionless in the darkness inside the cathedral, without screaming, crying, or running away for a whole minute.
In the cathedral? But how do you manage to get inside at night?
The children whisper together for a few seconds. It's the major secret of all secrets. One night, Josephine found out that one of the cathedral's windows is slightly broken. With a little stick or something similar, we can manage to open the window without anyone noticing. Promise you won't tell anyone.
On my honor, I swear.
Hey, miss! Our kiss.
Joe would probably be happy to know that. Okay, I've got to go now. Just try to keep out of trouble for a while, okay?
I'm almost certain this is the window Kat was talking about in her message. I can't do that. There's too much light and someone might see me. Wait a sec. Those decorations look more... You've caught me. I've always had a passion for stones. A legendary stone. Bye-bye, condom. Not even a young Boy Scout could have done better. Perfect. Now I can move around without being seen. I'm almost certain At least if Warren decides to fire me, I've got a future as a burglar. The little stick got broken, but with a bit of experience, you never know what I could manage to do. It looks like a labyrinth made of marble. An altar with a beautiful wooden box in the middle of it. And here it is. These should be Mary's robes. Maybe these will finally help me solve the mystery of Uncle Frank's death.
What would make someone violate the house of God in that way?
Father, I'm not a thief.
But it only takes a second to become one, Mr.
Danter. My name's Jonathan Danter.
Danter. Are you by any chance Frank's nephew?
I see my uncle was famous in Europe. It seems that everyone knew him. What have you to do with him?
I heard about Frank's death on the news. I'm really sorry. I'm Father Dominique, and I was a good friend to your Uncle Frank.
Did Frank ever mention me when talking to you?
I knew that the only person that Frank really loved was his nephew. But he also told me he had to renounce to meet him. Frank often talked with me of how difficult it was for him to never see you again. But he was also happy to know you in a safe place.
And the only way to protect me was to feign his death? Telling the little boy that his uncle, one of the most beloved of relatives he had, was dead?
He told me it was the only way to be sure that you wouldn't have been in danger.
Uncle Frank was a man full of ideas and resources. He surely could have found another way to protect me, without having to lie to me and the entire world.
Maybe you're right. But I believe Frank's main reason for disappearing was to protect you from himself.
Protect me from himself?
Exactly. One of the worst fears Frank had was that you would have followed him. He did everything he could to keep you out of this world full of danger, treachery and betrayal. But alas, the ways of God are infinite, and here you are, trying to continue what Frank's death has left unfinished.
The only true memories I have of Uncle Frank are those short summers I spent with him in London when I was a child.
What a shame, my child. Frank was a really great man.
Yes, he surely must have been. So many years. Wasted. And now the only thing I've got is this pocket watch he left me a long time ago.
In those years that you call wasted, you became who you are now. And maybe they have drawn you near Frank more than he ever could have done. In your eyes, I see his strength. His wit. Don't worry, my child. Frank now watches over you more than ever before.
When did you and my uncle meet for the first time?
It was many years ago. I remember the days when Frank lived here as if it was yesterday. We immediately became good friends. And like all good friends, we love to discuss. But please tell me, my child, what brings you here?
Uncle Frank knew something extremely important, and someone who discovered this secret wants to know everything about it. This murderer is killing everyone who could have any information about this story, and I'm not even sure of knowing what they're looking for. A corrupted policeman has killed 2 of his colleagues in London and has charged me for the murders. He has also sold the names of Frank and all his collaborators to some crazy psychotic assassin. That maniac is killing them, all of them. The only chance for me and my friend is to find out the secret Frank had discovered. Then, if we're lucky, maybe we find a way to get rid of all this mess.
I heard some disturbing news about mysterious deaths, but I really didn't imagine this problem was so extended. Because of my great friendship with Frank, I'll help you in every way I can. Now tell me, child, why were you looking for that relic?
I've got evidence that proves that this relic could be related to Frank's investigations. I found a piece of Mary's robes in Frank's flat.
If Frank has torn away a piece of Mary's robe, all this story must be really important. I'm sorry, my child, but the relic we have here isn't original. It's just a copy. Not many people know that during the terrible fire in the town in 1194, the Knights Templars took the original and hid it in a very secret place.
And do you know where this place is?
I know it's in Rome, with hundreds of other original relics, but I don't know precisely where it's kept. I can only tell you that many ancient books tell the story of a Knights Templar group that took it and traditionally hid it in a secret place that only the most wise and courageous men could enter.
Are you in charge here?
No, not really. Actually, the person who's in charge here lives on the higher floors. But if we want to talk earthly, yes, I'm in charge here, though only spiritually.
Are there many cathedrals named Notre Dame like the famous one in Paris?
Actually, it's a quite common mistake to think that there's only one Notre Dame. Notre Dame are simply the French words for Our Lady, and they obviously refer to the Virgin Mary. As you can imagine, there are a lot of monuments and buildings around the world that have been built to honor Mary, and many of them have their names accompanied by the words Notre Dame, especially in France.
Father, have you ever heard of the Imago Sanctissimus? Some people say it holds the meaning of life.
Many years have passed since the last time I heard that name, and I notice that nothing has changed. Listen, my child. The meaning of life cannot be found in a relic or in a monument. The meaning of life is everywhere, around us, in trees, in animals, in the eyes of those near you. I'm old, probably older than you think, and I've seen many people throwing away their lives, searching for the meaning of life. Poor people who never managed to understand that the meaning of life is in front of every one of us. You only need to stop a second, open your eyes, and look around you to understand what the true meaning of life is.
What's that labyrinth I saw on the floor in the center of the cathedral?
Many intellectuals have passed years studying that labyrinth. But ironically, they lost themselves in there. In the center of the labyrinth, you can see a rose. It's a symbol that can be found in many cathedrals. It symbolizes the constellation Virgo. And as you may know, the name Virgo comes from Latin and means virgin. But what's most special about this labyrinth is that every 15th of August, the day when we celebrate Mary, a sun ray enters the cathedral through the rose window that represents the Virgin Mary and ends precisely on the rose on the floor.
Maybe next year I'll be here for the 15th of August then.
It would be useless. Because of the precession of the equinoxes, nowadays the sun ray passes through the rose window on the 20th of August.
It's really incredible what human intellect can do.
More than intellect. I'd call it passion and devotion to God. Anyway, if you're interested in these subjects, you'll be happy to know that nearly a century ago, a famous Egyptologist named Schwaller de Lubisch studied the proportions of the labyrinth and found out that the proportions are exactly the same as the ones of the most complex ancient Egyptian temples. It seems that inside this labyrinth, secrets of an ancient Egyptian sect could be hidden too. One thing is for sure. The Templars knew how to inculcate fear and curiosity to mankind.
Thank you, Father. Your words have been wise and encouraging, especially in this difficult moment. I really have to go now. It was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for all your help. If you find some tomato sauce on one of the columns outside of the cathedral, please don't be cross.
Wait, where are you going?
What a strange group of people. I didn't think flower power still existed. Well, I'm glad they were kind enough to suggest I go to the Vatican museums first. And this map and guide to the monuments they gave me will be useful here in Rome. I haven't been to Italy for ages. Last night's trap in Chartre must have been set by Twinings, but I'll be safe here until they find out that I'm in Italy. I wonder where Joe is now. It's a map of Rome, a little present from those funny hippies. This guide is full of information about all the monuments in Rome. Another present from those nice hippies. It's really amazing. Every time I come here, it looks as if it's got bigger.
Benvenuti at the Vatican Museum. We have not much visitors today. How can I be helping you? I am here to serve you.
I'm looking for some information on the burning of the Borgo. Can you help me?
The burning of the Borgo. Sorry, but I don't understand the English very well. Ah, wait. You are talking of the Incendio del Borgo, of Raffaello. We have it in here, in the Vatican Museum.
Great. Could I please have a look at it?
I am very sorry, but they are cleaning inside the museum. Only official staff can enter.
I understand they are cleaning the museum, but if so, where is everyone?
They are gonna take a break. And knowing them, it will take them a long time, eh? Eh?
It's quite difficult to understand your English, but can I go inside the ancient Vatican library?
No. It is not possible. Only the Pope can make you enter.
I know that, but surely a strong Italian man like you can help me get in.
Sorry, it is not me who decides who gets in the old library.
Well, I'm sure you can let me have at least a quick look inside the museum.
Oh, mamma mia! I get into trouble if I let you enter the museum.
Please, it's really important that I enter the museum.
Okay, but only because you look like a good person. And you have very wonderful eyes. But be quick.
Really? Thanks. You're my savior.
Yes, please be careful inside.
This fresco shows the story of Constantine's vision just before the battle against Maxentius. The legend says that he was told he would have won the battle if he'd only changed his bearings from the Roman eagle to the Christian cross. This symbolically meant a move from paganism to Christianity. Constantine, the first Roman emperor, had to accept the Christian faith. I'm really curious to know what would have happened to our world today if the ancient Romans hadn't accepted Christian faith. This fresco statue reminds me of the ancient Greek caryatids. The men shown on these frescoes are emperors and sovereigns. The men shown on these frescoes are who once were very famous protectors of the church. Raphael's famous fresco that represents the burning of Rome in 847 AD. They say that Pope Leo IV extinguished the flames by just blessing them with his hands. It's interesting that in this fresco, 3 of the most important Greek capitals can be seen: Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. This little scene is taken from the burning of Troy in Virgil's Aeneid. The man is Aeneas with his old father Anchises on his shoulders, and little Ascanius is just close to them. It's incredible how many classic and pagan images there are hidden in Christian art. Pope Leo IV. Start your voyage remembering the burning of the Borgo in Rome. Burn the hand of God and follow his sign. The hand of God should be the Pope. The Pope is pointing at the ceiling, but I don't see anything particular on the ceiling. Wait a sec. These clues were written by the Templars, and it's well known that in the past many popes wanted to destroy the Templar order. So maybe, symbolically, the hand of God could mean the opposite of where the hand is pointing. This means I should look precisely near that locked wooden door over there. There's a strange hole inside this decorated wall. Burn. It's exactly what I've done. If it was so difficult to find, it must be quite important. A little magnetic cylinder. Do the words, "Follow this sign to the last bricks of the Palace of Rosicrucian. Here an arrow will guide you," mean something to you?
Let me think. Maybe it's about the Villa Palombara. The Rosicrucians went there in the past to talk about alchemy and other things.
And you know where I can find this villa?
Destroyed! Now there is a piazza where the villa was before.
Destroyed?
Yes, but don't worry. The most important piece of the villa is still there. They call it the alchemical door, or magical door. Before destroying the Villa Palombara, they brought in the magical door in a little park in the Piazza Vittorio Emanuele II.
Great. I'll go there straight away then. Thank you so much.
Wait. I tell you the legend of the magical door if you want. The story tells that Palombara has built it many centuries ago when a strange man visited him one night. The door is full of strange symbols, alchemy, magic, and such things. Nobody knows how to read them. Some people say that the strange man was the devil, and that the door is the entrance to hell. Others say that if you translate the magic symbols, you possibly find out the secret of the Philosopher's Stone. I don't know if these stories are true, but I surely know that I am always afraid walking near the door at night. Please be careful, bella mia.
An arrow will guide you. Okay then, let's have a look at this more carefully. This one-eyed pyramid somehow reminds me of the symbol printed on the $1 notes. Fascinating. The center of this circle has worn stone borders, as if someone had managed to move or push it a long time ago. Hey, now it's moving. It must be some kind of ancient magnetic mechanism invented by a very creative alchemist. Now I can truly say that this has become a real treasure hunt. A little magnetic cone. This arrow is indicating some far-off place. Okay, I've used my lipstick to trace a line on the map following the arrow's direction. I've used my lipstick to draw a line that shows the direction of the arrow on the magic door, but there are too many monuments along this line. I have to find some other clue. In the sentence, the most important remembrances of ancient Rome, the eye of man to the sky. The eye of man to the sky. It's so easy. There is a hole in the roof of the Pantheon. Besides, it was built by the ancient Romans, and only lately, in around the year 600 AD, it was consecrated as a Christian church. Another work of art that the ancient Romans stole from the poor Egyptians. Pantheon. The ancient Greek word means temple of all gods.
Sorry, miss, but the Pantheon is closed to the public.
Closed? What for? Restoration, maybe?
I honestly...
You know, I've always been very attracted to men wearing uniforms.
What? Do you think policemen here in Italy are fools? That a couple of sweet eyes can control us? You better go now, or I'll call some of my colleagues.
See you later, Agent. I have to find a way to distract that policeman while I sneak in.
I am here to serve you.
Please, it's really important that I enter the museum.
Okay, but only because you look like a good person. And you have very wonderful eyes. But be quick.
Really? Thanks. You're my savior.
Yes, please be careful inside.
Good morning. Sorry to disturb you again, but I need to get inside the Pantheon, and there's a policeman just in front of it. Maybe you could help me with...
No problem, Bella Mia. You know that you can come with any problem to your friend Aldo.
Thanks, but how are you going to...
Don't worry. Leave Aldo to do the work.
Are you always this nice to tourists?
No, it is that I like you. Maybe we can go together, huh? To Sora Anselma for a pizza later.
Yes, maybe. The tomb of Victor Emmanuel II, the father of Italy, as they call him here. Those 7 candle holders probably have a symbolic meaning. Here lies one of the greatest artists ever born. The tomb is adorned with scented roses, just as if they had died a week ago. Interesting, the tomb is relatively new. This means that even nowadays, the Templar Order is continuing to update all the security mechanisms created to protect all the Templar treasures hidden around the world. Click, and done. Who knows what mysteries this one will open up for me? A little magnetic pyramid. Amazing! The ray of light shines down from the roof inside the Pantheon, passes through the crystals, and arrives directly down here. And here's the crypt's most important piece. Good. Now let's work out the next riddle. It looks like these little stones are linked to the mirrors up there. I have to find the right combination to reflect the light beam accurately on the mirrors. Done. I can't believe it. These are Mary's original robes. There's a piece of a secret message written on them. I have to send a photo of these words to Jonathan.
I've got a strange feeling of déjà vu, Mr. Danter. What about you? Nice move, calling from a public telephone.
Inspector, please believe me, this isn't a joke. I've got nothing to do with this story, and I certainly haven't killed anyone.
I know.
What do you mean, you know?
We found your friend Damien's body. You should thank him, you know. As we searched his flat, we found proof that Coletti had committed the murder. Damien managed to film him on his webcam, just as Coletti was threatening him with a gun.
So you think Coletti's the killer?
No, we don't. We're sure that Coletti sold the information and handed over Damien and your uncle to someone. But he didn't kill them. The timing of the two murders rules out Coletti as the killer.
He did shoot the two officers, though.
Yes, that's true. And probably that's why he was found dead in his cell a couple of hours ago.
That's what you might call divine justice, eh?
Divine justice has nothing to do with it. It's more like revenge.
Well, whatever. He certainly deserved it. But what about me and Catherine? Do you still have arrest warrants out for us?
I've already dealt with that. You're free to go. But we've still got to open the safe deposit box at the airport. The CIA agents who arrived here yesterday are visibly annoyed by the delays these recent events have caused. Please don't get into any further trouble in the next few hours. And then we'll be able to open that damn box and have a look inside it to see whether its contents can be used to help us find out who murdered your uncle. You'll then be free to go back to America if you want, Mr. Danter.
Thank you, Inspector. When will Damien's funeral be held?
After we get the results of the autopsy. Here, before leaving, take your uncle's keys. Your friend had them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a lot of work to do. Just please try not to get into any more trouble.
It must be Cat.
Joe, I saw they'd arrested you in front of the cathedral. I was hiding nearby. I'd been following up the lead from the sentence that you'd found written on the column and decided to go to Rome. I hope I'll soon find some way of proving your innocence. Get in touch with me as soon as you can. I've just found the rest of Mary's dress here in Rome, and I've sent you the photo on the communicator. I hope Twinings wasn't too awful with you. I'll be on the first flight back to London, so hope to see you soon.
That's strange. Cat should have been back here in London by now. I'll ask Arthur. He might know where she is. I must get the piece of parchment back. We left it with Damien. Let's hope it's still in his flat. I really hope Cat hasn't ended up in trouble trying to recover this. My unique two-wheeled transport.
No tourists in our pub.
I guess you missed school on the day the teacher taught the meaning of the word hospitality.
This is my pub, and we don't like tourists.
Do you hate all tourists, or is it me in particular?
Nothing against you. It's only that I don't like your face.
So what is this place? A kind of infernal hole forgotten by every god on earth where poor souls dwell waiting to die?
Nothing like that. This is the best pub on English soil.
I'm a journalist, and I want to write an article on this pub.
Really? So we're talking about free advertising? Which newspaper do you write for? If I get a good review, I could get more clients. That means more money.
Cat's whiskers, what was that? A cockroach?
No, it wasn't. It was an olive. Yes, it was a black olive. Let's say that I could offer you a drink to forget about that olive. You could still write a good review, okay?
No thanks. I'm not very thirsty after having seen that olive with legs.
Let me tell you something, lad. I like your face.
Okay. Let's say that I could forget about the olive if you give me something useful in exchange.
Whatever. Just tell me what you want.
I want a surprise. You decide. I love surprises.
Sure. Look, I've got a bottle of mustard here. It's already used and it's a bit old. Actually, the best before date was June 5th, 1982. It's probably awful now, but you can have it. It's a wonderful present, isn't it?
Hot and spicy. Just like my ideal woman. Sir, will you please excuse me for a while? A notice from the water board. We inform all residents that during the next few days, there could be some interruptions in the water supply. We are working to upgrade all of the area's structures. We thank you for your patience. Translated, no water.
Hey, don't move. Can't you see that I've just finished cleaning the floor? Can't you see how spotlessly clean it is?
It's really incredible. One of the shiniest floors I've ever seen.
Thanks. Me mum always told me that I had a natural gift for cleaning floors.
Sorry, lady, but I've got to go inside Damien's flat.
Sorry, lad, but poor Damien's flat has been closed by the police. Nobody can go in.
But I really have to go inside Damien's flat.
Now, that's not my problem, lad. I only know that the police don't want anyone in there, and so nobody is going in there while I am watching.
Is that motor oil on your shiny floor?
Motor oil? Where? Where? Good heavens, I nearly had a heart attack. Haven't they ever told you that you shouldn't go around frightening old ladies?
I've had enough of her screechy voice for today. Someone has dirtied your shiny floor on the 3rd floor.
Really? Oh, heavens! I'll have to go and clean it again, then.
Last week's newspaper. Damn! An interview with Cardinal Gregorio on the first page. Someone must have interviewed him before I managed to do it. Warren will be furious. All this stuff must be worth more than 5,000 pounds. Let's see what we have here. The clue that Frank left us. It looks so ancient, I'm nearly afraid to touch it. I really think the time has come to go tell Arthur everything. It's good to see that even if Damien was a tech guy, he still found some time to read books. There's a thermometer here. I'll take it. It's a classical mercury thermometer. Oh well, at least if I'm starving, I'll find some biscuit crumbs in here. Empty, not even a crumb. A potpourri full of roses. It really has a wonderful scent.
Jonathan, I'm really happy to see that you're safe and sound.
Have you heard anything from Kat?
Last time I heard from her, she was in Rome. She told me they had captured you. But one of my secret police informers has already told me that you and Kat are free now.
We should thank poor Damien for that. He managed to get the evidence we needed to rescue us just before dying.
He really was a great boy. We have to find out who is really responsible for his death.
How are you? After Damien's death, I was afraid I wouldn't find you alive.
Thanks, Jonathan, but there's no need to worry. This old man has still a couple of tricks hidden behind this wheelchair.
Have you managed to find out anything interesting about the piece of parchment we found in Frank's flat?
No. I need to see it again to get more information. But I think Damien had it, and now it could be lost. We have to get it back.
See you later.
Great. You've managed to find the piece of Mary's robe. Let me have another look. Just as I thought. These are not simple alchemical symbols. Inside them, there are little ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Frank really wanted to keep his secret well hidden this time.
So are you able to decipher them?
Not now. I have to study some of the books here in my library. I haven't had to decipher such complex symbols for years. Here, take this medieval key. It's similar to a modern passport too. It should open a lot of doors. It was forged by a member of the High Templar Order many centuries ago. A little present from an old friend of mine. It doesn't work every time, but it helped me to save my life more than once before my accident. It could be useful for you.
Thanks for everything. It's an old medieval key that should open most of the locks built by the Knights Templar. Cat's whiskers! If I miss my appointment with Twinings again, they'll probably send me back to the States on a raft with no food or water.
Now that they've given you the keys to the safe deposit box, please open it and hand the contents over to us. If the contents aren't relevant to our inquiries, I'll personally make sure that they're safely returned to you.
That's interesting. That's my uncle's old watch.
Well, it's not exactly what we were expecting, but if your uncle decided to leave you an heirloom like this, it's not all that surprising. Frank was always a romantic man. Please, Mr. Danter, may I do a few checks on this old watch? We won't damage it. We'll just have it x-rayed to make sure it isn't just a case with something else important inside. If there's nothing in there, we'll give it back to you straight away. Well, I think that's it for the moment. Here you are. The crime scene investigators haven't found anything interesting. It's just an old watch, and it doesn't even work.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a precious object that'll remind me of my uncle.
Will you be returning to the States now, Mr. Danter?
No, not just yet. I've still got a few things to sort out here in Britain.
Well, I'll keep you up to date on all the latest developments then. Even though we just don't know what to do next.
Thanks, and good luck. The watch Frank left me is identical to the one he gave me years ago. That's weird. It must be some kind of clue. If what Kat said was the truth, then all the members of the legacy always leave some clues behind. So I'd better keep my eyes open and give another look around my uncle's flat. It's an old grandfather clock. I think I remember that Uncle Frank had one of these in his old house, but I'm not sure. It seems broken. It stopped at 10:10. I remember when I was little and I used to ask, Uncle Frank, why is your grandfather clock always at 5:55? The grandfather clock and the pocket watch have both stopped. I must give them a good look. It's an old Somewhere there's a disarmed knight that fights against hordes of enemies. Nothing more than an ornament. This little piece of paper has some musical notes written on it. There are some notes on this piece of paper. I remember music cradling me like a lullaby on those nights when I slept at my uncle's old house. If I'm right, this is the legendary Imago Sanctissimus. The legendary medallion that holds the meaning of life. It must be Arthur.
Jonathan, I've discovered something interesting that might help us interpret the symbols on the cloth. Now, there's an ancient underground crypt in Venice that dates back to the Inquisition. I've deciphered some mysterious old chemical text, and I believe you can only access the crypt via a well in the garden of the Palazzo Ducale. I've already booked you on the first flight to Venice, so you better hurry to Heathrow Airport. I don't know if there's anything left in that crypt. I'm not even sure it exists. But it's the only clue we've got. Good luck.
Perfect! My flight is 20 minutes late. My usual good luck. No! I've left my special pen at home. Now I can't write down the flight gate number. Oh well, I'll have to mess around and maybe get something to drink. You never know. The plane could be hijacked and I might die of thirst. There's a trolley that hasn't been put back. Probably by one of those businessmen that are always late for their meetings. Great, there's even a coin in it. Maybe I could manage to put the trolley back and get the coin. Ta-da! It's definitely better than begging in the street. I don't think I'll manage to buy even a souvenir for Warren with this. It's a typical airport desk with a pencil left on it. Come here, my little one. I'll find a home for you. I love pencils. Okay then, let's see if we're lucky. Lemony. Fizzy lemonade, my favorite.
Flight 725 to Venice will depart from Gate 5.
That's my flight. Venice, I'm on my way. The Bridge of Sighs, one of the most famous monuments in Venice. The magnificent balcony from where the Doge used to speak to the people. The high bell tower of St. Mark's Cathedral.
Sorry, mister, but this area is closed for restoration.
Closed for restoration at this time of the night?
I know it's late, but I'm trying to finish everything before dawn so I can go to my sister's wedding. Luckily, my university professor has allowed me to work by myself.
What are you working on?
Nothing that important. I'm just trying to clean and fix some external decorations on this ancient well.
See you later, miss. Can I take a piece of your sandpaper?
Sure, I've got lots laying around.
Very useful when you feel itchy. Soft dust. Do you want to take a break? I've got a fizzy lemonade for you.
I shouldn't, but it's late. A little rest won't harm. Thanks.
I feel a bit sorry for that poor restorer, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of fun.
Good. Now it's back to work time. Look what happened! The plaster got all dirty. What a mess. I should have some more, but where is it gone?
It's too high. I'm such an idiot. Stuck in a well at my age. Hey, there's a very small space between these two stones. It looks like there's something in that small dark hole. Maybe I could try getting it out by using my fingers. Maybe I... Here, let me have a look. I've nearly got it. Strange. What is it? Don't! Ouch! Hey! What the hell? There's an insect that bit me in there. This stone is decorated. It's different from the others, and has a hole in it. Done! If only everything else was that simple. It looks like someone has mixed up all of these gears. If I manage to put them all back in the right position, I'll hopefully manage to get out of here. No, it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. It wasn't so difficult after all. I just hope the rule big webs for big spiders doesn't count down here. Everything down here is gigantic. Even these thinking stones are enormous. These looks like some kind of rotating circular stones. It's probably a kind of puzzle or trap, a very annoying habit of those Templars, putting riddles instead of simple locks. I'm sure that to solve this puzzle, I have to find the correct combination. It seems to be correct. Solved! Now the Codex is waiting for me on the other side of the bridge. And the winner is Jonathan Danter! Yeah! Yeah! An ancient medieval codex with many alchemical symbols. Here we are. Let's hope this is the codex stone we're looking for. I'd better go straight back to London and start translating that damn parchment. I wonder if Arthur had any news from Cat. I'm beginning to get really worried.
Incredible! You've managed to recover the ancient Codex of the Arcane.
This thing here?
That thing, as you called it, was once used to decipher one of the most complicated alchemical codes ever invented. As you can see nowadays, only a little piece of the Codex is intact. But if I'm correct, we should be able to find out what we need. I think that Frank used this precise piece of Codex, so probably what we need is hidden in there. Let me have a look. Okay, it doesn't look that difficult, I think. You have to immerse the piece of Mary's robe into a mixture of water, ammonia, and mercury.
Water, ammonia, and mercury. Well, at least these elements aren't too difficult to find.
Yes, but remember you need to follow this correct order. Water, ammonia, and mercury.
Water, ammonia, and mercury. Okay, thanks. Please tell me if you hear anything from Cat.
Sure.
Arthur told me to use these elements in the correct order to reveal the message hidden in Frank's piece of parchment. The newest model of swimming pool for tiny gnomes. I only need to add mercury. The mixture is finished. This is the first half of the clue Uncle Frank left us. This is the clue that Frank left us. We've finally done it. We've revealed the message that Frank has left us.
Come on then, tell me. You're not going to keep a poor old man waiting, are you?
Hidden in the image of God, the meaning of life will reveal to those who will find the geometry built by Frederick II. Interesting. Within the image of God could mean inside the Imago Sanctissimus. What do you think?
I'd say you're on the right track. Many years ago, if I remember rightly, I visited a building designed by Frederick II himself, and it was a perfectly geometrical octagon.
An octagon? Just like the Imago Sanctissimus.
Exactly. Come on, we'd better hurry up.
Probably a message from Kat that she's finally got back to London.
That's one of the rooms in Castel del Monte. They've got there before us, and they're waiting for us. We have less than 12 hours left.
Damn! If they've harmed even one hair on Kat's head, I'll blow the castle up.
Hurry. Run and find Alan. We haven't got time to wait for a scheduled flight.
Arthur, I promise I'll do all I can.
There's no doubt about it. You truly are Frank Danter's nephew.
I'll use the communicator to keep in touch with you.
Good luck.
A piece of a tree branch. Great! Now I'm armed and dangerous. I can't go that way. The two monks would see me. It's the toolbox the monks brought inside a few minutes ago. Let's see if there's anything useful inside. Just oil. Why not? I'll probably get imprisoned this time too, so it's better to be prepared. It's a universal wrench. You never know when you could be in need of one of these. A big screw fixed to a strong metal cable. Okay, now I only need to find something to unscrew it. Now it shouldn't make too much noise.
Joe, is that really you? Oh, thank you. That thing ticking next to me was driving me mad.
Don't worry, it's all over now. Let's get out of here.
No way. Too many people have died just to leave things as they are and not discover the truth. What I want to know is what the hell that medallion is for.
But
no buts. I heard them talking about the Imago Sanctissimus, and they mentioned some sort of secret underground room. We've got to find a way to open up a passage around here somewhere.
okay then. We've still got a bit of time, and I think I've knocked out quite a few of these possessed beings. Come on. Perfect! It fits in the hole perfectly. There's always a medallion involved in things like this. These two skeletons are on their knees, either as a homage to visitors, or maybe to warn them. Even if it's very old, this huge blade looks very dangerous. I'm sure that this huge locked gate is somehow connected to that strange fountain. I think it's some kind of fountain. Looks like there's a strange hole in it. Let's hope this is the last of the Templars' riddles. I'm getting a bit tired of them. Cat's whiskers! You're Cardinal Gregorio!
You seem to be surprised, Mr. Danter. Now, would you please hand over the medallion, if you don't mind?
I do mind. Tell me, is this small medallion worth all the blood of all those people? You filthy bastard, I'd like to—
Come, young man. You wouldn't attack an elderly man of the cloth, would you?
How dare you call yourself a man of the cloth? You've betrayed the Vatican. You've brought a cruel, ruthless sect back to life. You've committed murder just to gain wealth and power.
Ah, Miss McKendall, do you believe that noble souls still exist? I'll be very sorry to have to give your father the news of your death. I've known him for years, and I've always admired his humanity. Now, if you don't mind...
Tell me something, Cardinal. Why did you call me to Miami for the interview instead of coming to my house to capture me?
You're always the journalist, Mr. Danter. Wanting the answers even when you're about to die.
Especially when I'm about to die.
I tried to make the best plan possible, but unfortunately I hadn't taken into consideration the death of your uncle. You see, my followers didn't kill Frank Danter. Your uncle was murdered by some petty criminal while he was following one of my disciples. Let's put it this way. It was a tragic fatality.
Or divine intervention. It seems that you knew Frank much better than I did.
I'll tell you a secret. It was Frank who discovered the importance of the Imago Sanctissimus and the concrete proof that the medallion really existed. He realized that the medallion had been forged by melting down the 30 pieces of silver that Judas had accepted to betray Christ, and realized that it had the power to reveal a map of all life forms in the entire universe. It was as if Christ had wanted to create something precious out of the symbol of his betrayal. Poor Frank, however, never managed to find out who the betrayer in the Vatican's secret services was. He certainly suspected me, especially after he found me rummaging through the papers about the secret of the Imago Sanctissimus. But he never found enough proof to take to the Pope, and now he's dead. He died to protect this seal.
And is this secret so precious that it justifies all the blood that's been spilt in its name?
My dear, the history of man should have taught you that the only things mankind really want are power and wealth. And that's all. Religion, the church, and politics, nothing but excuses to hide the truth. Man's greed. My sect has been studying this plan for centuries, and I'm the last link in the chain. I'm the one who will finally find the answer and bring the church as we know it today to its knees. They've been telling us lies for thousands of years, and knowing the reason behind the meaning of life would lead to the destruction of the old false church and the birth of a new one based on absolute truth and
blood and death? And just to make men like you richer?
The church has always been built on spilled blood, and it always helped men like myself to become rich. Besides, this won't make any difference to you or your friend, Mr. Danter. You're both as good as dead. Now, if you don't mind...
But the medallion! We've got to get it back. It's a secret of life, don't you see?
No. I think neither you nor I will understand. Nobody will. If we really want to understand life, we've got to learn to look around us and inside us. Maybe the true role of the Imago Sanctissimus was to stop monsters like Cardinal Gregorio.
How many centuries have gone by? And yet my hand still burns like it did on the day Christ came back from the dead.
Judas,
You, at last.
my most beloved disciple, your task is finally over.
In the end, humanity has proven to be unworthy to know how precious the message hidden inside the medallion forged by Peter, using the 30 pieces of silver was.
Mankind has been given the possibility of choosing, and it has chosen. You've been waiting for thousands of years, and finally the moment has arrived for you to come to me.
In your name, now and forever.
Stop.